Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, sponsored by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. And thank you, Tim and Ben and Carrie, for all that you do for us in all of the racing community. It's remarkable, truly. So thank you. Mark, episode 178, man. We had a busy week, huh?
We've had a busy week. Hey, man, remember this one? I found this in the camper the other day, and I said, you know what? I want to use this week. So good stuff, man. Yeah, we've been busy, totally busy, and it's only going to stay that way here for a little while here. There's still some more of this season to go.
There is. Yep, we got a lot to talk about over the past 2 weeks since we missed last week, which we had let everyone know about with just busy schedules, vacations, all that. So that being said, we got a normal episode coming up for you, but we also have a very special guest, actually 2 guests coming on. We got Dan and Jordan Gracyalny joining us. We got the Stan the Man Memorial and the Terry Van Roy Memorial coming up tomorrow night out at Wisconsin International Raceway with the Fox River Racing Club. So it's going to be very special to talk to Dan and Jordan about Stan the Man and Terry Van Roy, 2 people obviously very close to them.
Very much so, man. They're the icon names out there at WIR, man. So looking forward to this one. This will be a good interview here.
Absolutely. That being said, let's go right out to the hotline, buddy.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Dan and Jordan, thanks for joining us today. We got a big night coming up tomorrow with the Stan the Man Memorial and the Terry Van Roy Memorial. We were just talking about that before you guys came on. Just a special night for your family and your friend out there. So how are you guys doing?
Working hard and trying to get these race cars ready for tomorrow night because we got a few of them that we got to get ready yet, and we're trying to get them all done. So we'll be burning the midnight oil, but we're used to that.
So how many cars you working on, and what are you working on there?
Well, actually, I got 2 figure-8 cars we're getting ready for tomorrow night, and actually, I'll be driving Terry Van Roy's car tomorrow night in a super stock, his Grand National dirt car on the pavement. So.
And then I'm working on getting my my sport mod back together after a rough weekend of racing. So I won't be racing that tomorrow, but hopefully this coming weekend.
There you go. Yeah. Racing sometimes, right?
Yeah, it's a great time.
It's more than a second job, trust me.
Yeah.
I believe it. I always say there's a reason I'm on the other side here. But I mean, just what you and all the racers and everyone in the community does is truly amazing.
I appreciate that.
Yes, we do.
Hey, I want to start talking about your dad, Dan, and your grandpa, Jordan, Stan the Man, just a legend of the sport. We talked about it a few times on here already, that tomorrow night's the Stan the Man Memorial, very special for you and your family. Talk about your dad a little bit and kind of you growing up with him and going racing.
Well, I don't really know where to start with this one, but I can tell you that he taught me a lot of things. The number one thing that he taught me the most, I'd say, is probably work ethic. If you want to be good at something, you better do it quite a bit. And well, I'd say he's pretty good at wrecking nice shit. So we've learned how to do that, and we've learned how to fix it. I started at the age of 12 helping him out on the frame rack, and he's got a couple stories of his dirt days of how I used to buzz around the shop on my big wheel, taking the tires and stuff off. So that was a lot of fun. But
I think he's talking about Grandpa.
Yeah, well, and then
Grandpa, not me.
Well,
I think he's talking about Grandpa Stan.
With Grandpa Stan, it was a lot of a give and take. I've never seen a guy get in a car. He got in head first. There's a video. I'm sure my grandma can show it to you. But he would get in the car head first and then tuck his feet under his body and then somehow make it in the seat. It was just second to none. I've never seen anything like that. But then on the track, I mean, he was. I'd like to call him the Intimidator, but nobody's quite like Dale. But he's my Dale, if that makes any sense to you guys.
Mhm.
Like I say, I grew up side by side with him building race cars back in the day because I grew up and his shop was at the house, which was great for us kids because we could be out in the shop with him. And he worked hard, a lot of long nights, and he didn't have the money like most teams did, but he still wore that smile. He did what he had to do on the budget he had, and a lot of it was stuff he built himself. Years ago when he raced for years, they didn't have chassis, they built their own. There wasn't a Rander car, there wasn't a GRT, it was the Stan Man chassis or the Pete Parker chassis, it was their own home brewed built. I mean, picture them days when they built their own wheels. These things, you look at them old vintage race cars now that you see with the home built wheels, that's what they did back in the day.
And what did he use for a steering quickener? What was his solution to that?
A quick steer was a bike chain, big sprocket to a little sprocket. That was his steering quickener. He couldn't afford a couple $100 steering quickener, but he could take a bike sprocket, a bigger one and a smaller one, and a chain, and that was his quickener.
And sometimes, how did he get the car to the track?
Tow bar. A lot of times it was a tow bar.
Behind whose car?
Behind my mom's nice Ford retractable. Back in the day, my mom had a beautiful Ford retractable, and Dad, he put a hitch on it, and he'd pull his race car there to De Pere and Oshkosh and all over with a tow bar. That's tells you something now how the sport's changed.
But there was back in the day that even if you didn't have a good night at the racetrack, somehow you'd have to try to put it together so you could drag it home, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what, even when I first started racing in the early 80s, we tow barred everything yet. And I remember bringing our figure eight cars up to 141 and running on the pavement up there, and I wrecked hard. And we worked on the car for like an hour and a half in order to get the tow bar, wrap chains and everything so we could get that thing home. And we had to go an hour to get home.
Were there ever any times where you brought a car to the track, raced it, like drove it to the track and raced it, and
No.
then drove it back? No.
No, that I never did do. That one I can't tell you. I never did that.
Okay.
I know back in the day Dad did, but
Unscrew the headlights and screw them back in.
and and definitely there was nights I took my car to the track when I didn't have a trailer and it was just tow bar, and yes, it stayed at the track because there was no way of getting it home some nights. So you had your pros and cons. A tow bar was cheap for towing your race car, but sometimes it didn't get it home.
I want to know where your dad all raced, Danny. Where you mentioned a few tracks there. Where did he all travel out to in race?
He actually raced. He raced obviously Oshkosh, Shiocton, Outagamie, Shawano, Seymour, Luxembourg, Apple Creek, Escanaba, Michigan. Where else did
Deep
he
Ear.
race? Yeah, Deep Ear County Fairgrounds. He was mainly in them areas. He never went out of state racing ever. Again, back in his day, the haulers weren't capable of driving 2-3 hours away, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Did he ever race Slinger?
No,
Slinger would have been
Nope.
too new. Okay.
nope, he never ran Slinger either. So pretty much all the dirt tracks around here, and you got to remember back then, here's another thing. They took their asphalt car and bolted dirt tires on and went and ran dirt. They didn't have two separate cars, one for dirt, one for asphalt. So that was something to think of. And that's even back in the Dick Trickle days. Back in the day when Dad ran a Mustang and Dick Trickle ran a Mustang, they would show up at Seymour, and they just bolt dirt tires on and go. So back in the day, you didn't have two separate cars to go race asphalt and dirt. You did it with the same car. So that times have changed since then.
What was your favorite place to watch him race growing up?
Apple Creek, the old Apple Bowl. That was where you went off the back straightaway and you ended up in the creek. You usually either didn't roll over, but you were in the creek.
Yeah, if you went far enough, you went up over that sandbank and over the, they'd have to hoist you up, but drag you back up over that dirt pile on the backstretch, man. Showing our age, man, of Apple Creek, that was a long time ago, but still got good memories of that place.
And another thing about Apple Creek, if you remember this too, you got a case of beer if you rolled your car over.
Yep.
That
And
was
these guys
always
would be
something
in
that
the
stuck with
corner.
me.
They'd be in the corner trying to turn their car over just for some beer. It was just amazing.
Yeah, at least you had something to drink at the end of the night. If the car wasn't working, it was a piece of junk. At least you had something to drink at the end of the night.
I was
Yep.
just gonna say that sounds like an incentive to some people. That could be
Yeah.
dangerous.
One thing I will tell you too, I'll never forget this either. My dad raced a quarter horse at Apple Creek, or no, at Oshkosh. It was actually at Oshkosh. His race there against a quarter horse, and it was quite the race, is what I remember. I think Dad beat the horse, but that was an honest something that really happened at Oshkosh Speedway at Leela's. I'd have to sit down with my mom and see if she's got any articles on it, but like I say, I remember that story and it sticks with me.
I don't think there's enough podcast time in the world to go and sit down with Grandma Sharon and go over all of her scrapbooks. But man, if you guys ever get the chance, it would be a good time.
You guys want to go back to the vintage racing? I mean, really go back. I mean, she's got albums and albums and albums of pictures of everybody's race car, not just our family, but others, and all the articles of any racetrack. And I don't even want to know how many hours it took her to do this and how much money for the pictures. But I'll tell you what, like my son just told you, you want to sit down someday, you guys would be shocked if you went over there.
I'd
I mean,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah, likewise. I would love that too. Um, uh, Sorry, Jordan. I'm gonna continue with your dad
All
here
good.
for a second. Did you know that you always wanted to race growing up with your dad racing, or did you have other hobbies, or what was your bringing up like? What did you like?
Well, I'll tell you what, getting back to the horse days, my brother Dave was into the horses and I was into the horsepower, meaning cars. So Dave, he kind of went off to do the horse thing and I was side by side with my dad building cars, working on cars, working in the body shop also. So pretty much hand to hand. And that's kind of the same thing with Jordan. When I had my two Wasota late models that I was racing back in like 02, 03, Jordan was on a big wheel. I think he was about 4 years, 3.5, 4 years old. And he actually wore the lug nuts off the car in the back that I had done with the Milwaukee M18 Impact. He honestly wore the aluminum lug nuts off it before it could even hit the track. So that's something I always will never forget as long as I live. I mean, I tell him that every time we're working on a frame rack, we buzz some lug nuts off. I say, you know what? You were good at this already when you were 4 years old. And then to put him in a race car at 12, that was something too. So
Yeah, Jordan. Did you have other hobbies growing up, or was it kind of just racing from the get go?
Well, I always knew I wanted to race. I tried football for a little bit, wasn't any good at that. I did a little bit of go karts. We did GSR and Hilbert, Meadowview, I think it was.
yep.
And we got pretty good there. The problem was my brother was a little bit older than me, showed a little bit more patience, and I just wanted to wreck everything. So, um, I was I was a little too aggressive in the go karts. It was more of a momentum thing, and I just wanted to crank the wheel every chance I got, and don't get next to me or you're not gonna finish the race type of deal when I was younger. But I did all that. I played hockey for a little bit. Um, Kind of got kicked off the team because I was a little feisty back then too. So definitely a little bit of a aggressive side when I was younger, but now working on the race cars and stuff, it takes your mind off things, gives you time to think about stuff.
Danny, what was your first car that you got into when you started racing?
Very first car I got into, I wasn't even old enough to drive the. I was actually only 15. We were supposed to be 16 at Kekon, and we lied about my age. Me and Pat Brown built a 1971 Buick Skylark with a 350 4-barrel 3-speed on the floor. It was kind of a unique car. If I had that car today, it'd be worth a lot of money. But we cut it up for a figure-8 car, and like I say, 71 Buick Skylark, and them were the days where we thought we knew everything, and it was kind of a funny story because we had big, like truck tires on the back of it. It sat way up in the back, and we had a radiator sticking out of the hood because we thought we had to run this big radiator to keep it cool. So it didn't take me long to figure out that we were going backwards instead of forwards, but that was my first race car.
What division was that you raced in?
That was figure eight. Yep.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan, you're hitting the dirt a lot, aren't you? And yeah, what happened this last weekend, man? Had a rough weekend.
Yeah, we unloaded out of the box on Friday at Luxembourg, and sorry, let me back up. So we unloaded out of the box into the shop on Thursday, getting the car ready for Friday, and I was running into timing issues. There was some stuff on my car that was just not necessarily the most legal, so I wanted to change it and be legal. So we changed the distributor out, made it legal, and then I couldn't get the thing to time right. So I had Dad look at it, and then actually TJ Smith and his dad Todd stopped by to help out, and we got it all timed in right. Went to Luxembourg. Never been there before, just kind of learning. I mean, I was there watching Dad years ago, but never raced on the track. Didn't really know what I was in for. Everybody said, "Hey, don't go off the backstretch," so I made sure I didn't do that. But no, I unloaded in the heat race. Just kind of felt out the track. I didn't make the invert. Knew I was going to be coming through the B main, but last lap we went into turn 1 and 2, and the guy in front of me was from Michigan. Didn't know much about the track either. I goosed her a little too much, spun out in front of me, and in those cars it's mostly rear brakes, so I just locked them up, tried to keep it to a minimum, and we ended up just body slamming them and squeezed the header off on the right side and wrecked the car a little bit. And I wanted to throw the towel in, wanted to be done, go back, fix the car, have it ready for Saturday. And Dad said that's not how we do things. And it's always a learning curve with the old man here. He's always pushing you to do better and be better. So we
got the porter power out, believe it or not. We got the porter power out. We jacked out frame rail. The right frame rail got her pretty bad.
And then he took a Sawzall to my exhaust, which I wasn't happy about, but
we cut the header off. We had to cut the header off so it could breathe. And,
yeah,
we got him out there in the nick of time, and needless to say, he come from the back and won it. So
yeah, that was the B main, and then from the B main, I transferred into the feature. The whole time I was warning everybody. I said, "Dude, that tractor tire coming out of 4 is gnarly. Like, watch out, don't hit it." I was warning him before because he races before us, and I heard him getting yelled at on the receiver as I'm strapped in the car, and I'm like, "Oh boy, I wish I could be watching that race right now." And then I got out there for the feature. I think 4 laps in, I smoked to that same tractor tire with the left front and broke the spindle in half. So the left front tire was just turned. So I was constantly turning left with the left front tire and just driving off the right front. But the challenge with those modifieds is you have to keep them up on the bars, because if you don't keep them hiked up, they get all upset, and then you push, and then even if your left front tires turn directly to the left, it's going to take you around. So but no, I wheeled it from 16th up to 8th place in the feature. The car never handled so good. I really, I don't know what it was, but I said I need to start hitting more tractor tires, I guess. So, and then Saturday we took it to 141, and I don't know. I guess I came off of feeling pretty good about Friday night, and drove in a little over my head on Saturday. Spun the car out, missed the transfer, and they have a non-qualifier feature, much like WIR does for the sport trucks. So I raced that and didn't do so hot. I think I got like second or third in that, but I didn't. The goal is always to win. And I was remodeling my house, and I had a kitchen sink in the back of my truck. So I threw it on the hood, and I said, "Man, we're throwing the kitchen sink at this thing." So it was a good time, but all in fun. Great tracks. Really liked Luxembourg. Definitely be going back there.
Yeah, the track was beautiful. Very good.
Yeah, I saw that post, and I think I laughed out loud around the campfire when I seen that deal. That was pretty clever. Danny, I wanna kind of continue in your career too. I wanna so you started in figure eight. Eventually you ventured out. So when did you start venturing out and racing other things?
I want to say in 1988, 89, I bought Bobby Knott's sportsman car for Kakona. And we ran really good in that. We took a lot of fast times, won a lot of dashes, a lot of features. Had a chance to win the points one year, and believe it or not, I got spun out in the feature. And when I was sitting there, actually years ago, this was, you got to remember, he was still living. Zuman Newman hit me, and he hit me so hard that we didn't know it. But the following week, I went out after I straightened the frame and got the car all back together. We went out and qualified, and the block was cracked. So we drained the water out of it to make one lap, and that pretty much cost me the championship back then. But it was sportsman division that I ran for a few years, and then eventually I went up to late model asphalt cars and dirt at the same time. I ran stock cars, modifieds, and I was running 5 nights a week there for a long time. So on dirt and asphalt each week. That's why if you talk to anybody that watched me at Kakona run the late model asphalt car, and they said they could read my number coming out of four so many times because I had the ass in hanging out like a dirt car and I could save it. So that's one of my pet peeves they tell me about when they come down to talk to me after I race now too. So, I had the talent to learn the car on dirt, what it did, and I had the talent to save it on asphalt. So
You caught me off guard mentioning my uncle there. Sorry that happened, but I do like to hear stories
oh,
about him. And
me and Zoom Newman were best friends. There's still a sticker of him on the dashboard of the '99 car that'll be running tomorrow night.
The pink car.
The pink car, the figure eight car that'll be racing tomorrow night. Zoom Newman was a super nice guy. I mean, I'm telling you, we had a lot of late nights with Zoom Newman. I'll give you,
I
one of the funniest stories.
Oh,
We just
boy.
told it today. We went to the Moises truck stop one night after the races.
I think I know where you're going with this, by the way, but continue.
Okay, we went to the Moises truck stop after the bars one night and raced the bars. And Zuma Newman gets up to go to the bathroom, and I looked at my brother. I said, ha, "I'm gonna go in the bathroom." So Zuman's in the bathroom taking a shit. I stand on the stall next to him with the garbage can on the toilet, and I dump the garbage can over the top. And all I heard him say, "You son of a bitch, Gracie!" And them were the times we had with Zuma Newman. And
Yeah,
I'm telling you, super nice guy. It is what it is, but too bad. But he's racing with me. What I'm trying to tell you is the stickers in the car, and I never forgot him, and I never will.
That's cool.
well,
That's like
I can't tell you how much that means.
that's like Terry Van Roy.
Hmm. Hmm.
To be driving Terry Van Roy's Grand National tomorrow night is really something for me. And I'm telling you, he'll be in the car with me. I know he will. So it's going to be awesome to just pilot that Grand National tomorrow night, and if we can put it in victory lane. That one's going to go out to Terry Van Roy and Hank from Hank and Karen's. We just lost Hank. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna talk to you about late models a little bit, but let's talk about Terry since you brought him up here. Not only are we honoring your father and grandfather, but we're honoring Terry too, and a guy that we missed around the track. And quite frankly, I feel like when you think about racing on the quarter mile and in figure eights, you two are the most commonly brought up. I feel like
yeah.
you guys
Well,
have won so many features out there and ran side by side so many times. It's unbelievable.
we literally hated each other at the beginning. When I mean hated each other, I'm going to tell you something. Me and Terry Van Roy were like on a battery, negative and positive. We didn't want nothing to do with it. I mean, I'm serious. And it was a sad story. Like I say, last Friday night, I ran Luxembourg for the first time since 2011. Terry was my pit crew that night. He rode up with me. We won that night. We won the feature and everything. And afterwards, we went to the bars. We had a good time in that. I stayed with Terry that morning until sun came up in his mom and dad's driveway and drove home.
And then what happened with the cooler?
Well, when I was leaving his mom and dad's house after me and him drank all the Coors Light, I was leaving his house that morning and I tripped over the cooler and took a digger over the trailer and into the pea gravel. So my face was all busted up,
Uh,
and I drove home. And when I walked in, my other half looked at me and said, "What happened to you and where you been?" I said, "I've been with Terry Van Roy." So but like I say, it was really good memories pulling into Luxembourg last Friday, and all I thought of Terry was here with me last time. So Like I say,
Wow.
Terry's got a lot of laps everywhere he went, and yes, he has a lot of wins just like I do. His racing career ended way too early for him. You think about it. If he was around today, how many more wins would he have?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But he's upstairs winning, trust me. He's up with the old man and everybody else. So
I'm just trying to wonder how Coors Light is still in business considering Terry's gone. I don't know who else is drinking it at this point.
Oh, I took that over. I got that. I got that covered.
there you go.
Um, yeah, Terry, I was trying to, he kept telling me over the last few years before his passing that he was thinking about, this might be my last year. And I said, nah, I think you got at least 5 more in you. And him and I would go back and forth on that quite a bit. And it, they always say like legends never die, right? And I just thought that guy would be racing for basically my whole life.
Yeah, I figured he'd be in a race car at 75 years old yet. He'd be
Mhm.
another Jerry Munster.
Yep.
There's another take your hat off to Jerry. I mean it. I got to talk to Jerry Friday night. I haven't seen Jerry in a long time. And I made sure I went over there and talked to him. So
Yeah, I'm going to get back to your late. I know this is a hard transition, but I'm going to get back to your late model career a little bit because that's kind of when I became into the scene, sitting up, a 10-month-old sitting on the hill watching Uncle Zoomy and all that. So I've been out there for, I don't even want to admit, 34 years out there. But I tell you what, you always stood out to me because you had a Rainbow Warrior look-alike car out there.
I'm looking at it right now on the wall here.
Wow.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was even 24, correct?
Yes. He's gonna go grab the
Um,
picture off the wall right now. We are in the
and
office.
for
And
me as a youngster, compare like we always watch NASCAR, and then a local guy has this Jeff Gordon. There it is, Jeff Gordon lookalike car. I
Wow.
I feel like my eyes ended up peeling on your car there because it was such a great paint scheme and something that us NASCAR fans could connect to. Those were some good days, huh?
I actually had to call DuPont because we had DuPont in the body shop. They sponsored me. The paint shop that I was with at the time. I had actually called the make sure they would let me paint it like Jeff Gordon because them were the original colors too. That car,
Yeah.
everything was exactly the same colors as Jeff Gordon's. So we actually had to call and confirm it. So I mean I literally went right down to the how big the stripes were and everything. I that's how detailed I had that car. And I got real good at painting that car because I took the front end off like 4 times the first month. I'm telling you, I got
I,
real good at it.
I think that's what Jordan was referencing at the beginning of this thing, huh, Jordan?
Yeah, yeah,
Another
definitely.
thing you guys might not know, but I'm the only guy that ran all 5 divisions at WIR one night. I ran
Wow.
sport trucks, figure eight, street stock, limiteds, and late models.
And what did you do in the sport truck that you regretted?
Oh, sport truck. Only raced one once. Never raced one again. I went out because it was still daylight out. We were running the heat race, and I put the helmet on and I put my sunglasses on. Well, there was no suspension on them trucks, so my sunglasses beat my nose so bad I was bleeding from the helmet bobbing and my head bobbing. The sunglasses literally took the skin off the top of my nose. So, rule of thumb: if you race sport trucks, don't wear sunglasses.
Oh, we
Get
see
a
them
get a
things
tinted
jumping around
shield.
all the time. Yeah.
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 But
It'd
like I
be a
said, another memory I got when Matt Kenseth went go race debut for his NASCAR thing. Mike Butts let me drive his car at Kakona. They put me in the car, and I thought highly of that. That was something that really, to this day, is something on my shoulders that I can talk about. For Mike to trust me, to drive Matt's car while he was gone. So, I don't know if people remember that or not, but I do.
Wow.
I was just gonna ask what it was like racing on the half mile because I think a lot of people reference you to super stock or figure eights, and I remember you more on the half mile as a kid because that was when I was in the scene as a young age. So what was that like racing on the half mile? And then also talk more about that Butts deal that you got together with and how that went.
Well, with the late model, running up on the half mile, we had a bigger tire, which was great. You had a 10-inch tire versus an 8-inch tire like I was used to racing on. So that extra 2 inches meant the world. And you could really feel the car a lot better than on an 8-inch tire. So really, technically going out and running late model, I had a lot of fun, had a lot of good sponsors in that. And you know what? The only thing that drove me out of the late model towards the end there was money. I mean, I was buying Kipley motors. I was spending $30,000 on a motor back then. So today I wouldn't even know what a $30,000 motor would do out there, is what I'm trying to tell you. But it was one of the funnest things I ever raced was late model asphalt. I mean it, and I teamed up with Phil Lale. Me and Phil Lale had a lot of good years together on dirt and asphalt, and I ran his late model car on asphalt a few years too. We actually went down to Volusia New Smyrna in Florida and raced for 18 days. And Lowell Bennett was down there and a couple other guys. We had a ball. I mean, one thing, Phil Lale, he had the best of everything, and he actually even bought me a dirt car, and we ran a lot of modified shows. I won a lot of big shows with his modified too. So take my hat off to Phil Lale and Phil Senior. So, but no, late model asphalt was a lot of fun.
Wasn't there a time that you raced an 8-inch tire versus a 10-inch tire?
Yes, that was on the sportsman division. We ran our mid-am cars down with the quarter mile guys when it was still on a quarter mile, and I ran against Jeff Van Oudenhoven and Rick Spoo and all them, and I was running an 8-inch tire, and I was good in the heat, but in feature time, if you went more than 12, 13 laps, you'd fall off the pace because the 8-inch tire would be so hot. If a caution came out in a feature, usually it was good. So you needed one caution to compete with these guys. But I won a lot of features on an 8-inch tire against 8-inch or 10-inch tire guys. To this day, I mean, I look back at that and I think either me or Burton Brown hold the track record on 8-inch tires on the sportsman track at Kakona.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like I said, it's all about rubber on the track,
Yeah. You
What
need
about
that, right?
racing for Mike Butts?
Oh, Mike Butts, like I say, he came to me and asked me to drive the car, and I said, "Holy man, that's an honor." So, of course, I'm not going to say no. And actually, it was kind of a good thing I got in the car and I went out to hot lap it, and I said to Mike, "There's something wrong with the steering rack." He's what? There's something wrong with the steering rack, and we had to qualify because we had no time to put a rack in it. And then after we qualified, we took the steering rack out and there was something wrong with the steering rack. And he thought highly. He says, "No, that's pretty good. You figured that out." I said, "Well, that's kind of what makes the car go around the corners and down the straightaways." So, but Mike, super nice. Him and Patty. Now I look at the kids. You got to remember back then, Matt and Ross. They were Matt. He was riding a little big wheel back in them days. Now he's wheeling that car and he's wheeling it damn good. So I gotta take my hat off to Mike Butts. I mean it.
And Chad Butts is the one that's
Yeah.
I think still leading points if I'm
Yeah,
not
Chad.
mistaken. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if he's leading points anymore. They had engine problems last week.
Oh, okay.
I believe
he's
he's
up
second.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's
But
up
he
2
had,
points.
but they were down on power last week. Something was going. Mike Butts actually asked me what I thought, and I gave him a couple ideas. So it was nice that he came and asked me.
Looks like he's up 3 actually. 3 over Greasebox. So
Like I say, one thing with me, I've been around the tracks for years. I tune all my own cars. Like Friday night, I lost a rocker arm in the feature, and the lifter popped out. So I finished the race on 7 cylinders, and still had a chance to maybe win it. But I came home from the cottage on Sunday night because I went up to the cottage Saturday morning then, and I came home Sunday night, and my brother had the motor tore apart, and I put it back together on Sunday night already. So. But that's the type of team we got. My brother helps out a lot,
See you later, dude. Thanks, guys.
and I'm telling you, like Jordan, he's in our tracks. He watches what I did for years, like pulling these race cars. He's there now, which is great because I'm getting older. I can't stay up till midnight, 1, 2 in the morning every night like he does. But and I know it. Race car drivers don't take no for an answer. They want their race car to go racing. I'll
Well,
be up
that's
north.
actually that's where Dave is right now. He's dealing with somebody dropping one off. So.
I will be up north on a Friday night and Saturday night, and Jordan will be getting phone calls, and I'll call him and he'll say, "Dad, I got to go in the morning and pull a guy's car so he can race tonight." I'm like, I remember those days. So I give him a lot of credit. I mean, he's got the talent that I had for years, and I'm glad he kept the family tradition going because nobody wants to do it. It's an art, it's a skill, and you know what? He's got it.
Well, it's the passion, though. That's what really drives you guys.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's in our blood. That's the problem.
Exactly. We say that all the
My
time.
my like I say, my dad and Terry are looking down at us. They won't want it any other way.
That's
People couldn't believe I bought a car and I refurbished Fletcher's street stock over the winter, and I went out to Eagle River, never drove the track, never drove the car, and I won the show there. So, and I started deep in the pack. I didn't start on the pole.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about you still traveling a little bit, and I'll get to that back to that in a minute. I want to talk to Jordan for a little bit here, though. Jordan, so you talked about go karting and all that a few years ago. Austin, you end up in that familiar pink '99 figure eight. Was there any racing in between there that bridged the gap, or did you go kind of from karting right to the figure eight class?
Well, when I was 12, I did the four cylinders at 141, and Dad put well, the first night I went out, we were on our way to the track, and
The
he was on the phone with my brother, and they were talking. I don't know what they were talking about. Anyways, he's like, "Look at this idiot passing us on the left hand side. Doesn't he know there's a stop sign here?" And sure enough, it was my car that had left the trailer and passed us on the way to the track.
went through the stop sign.
Missed a telephone pole and a whole box, and Dad climbed
Phone
in there, jumped out, got it out of the ditch, and away we went.
Well, you got to remember this car is set up for a 12-year-old, so I'm trying to squeeze in here, and I'm panicking in case an officer of the law came, and I managed to squeeze my big body in a 12-year-old's seat for a couple of minutes to get it out of the ditch, back on the trailer. That was our first night taking his car to the track.
And then to make matters worse, I didn't understand how the whole. I knew how a clutch worked and how driving a stick shift worked, but I didn't understand the difference between third gear and fifth gear. So
He got from second to fifth.
yeah, I went first, second, and then fifth, and I wasn't very fast. That wasn't the fast way around the track. So he built me a little shift stop on the shifter, so you couldn't get into fifth. But it made it rather hard to get into reverse then too, because you had to go over and back. But no, it was we did that for, what did I do that in, maybe a year or two.
A couple years.
Yeah,
Yep.
and my two brothers really enjoyed the asphalt scene of four-cylinder racing. I was still a little young yet to really get a grasp of what I needed to do out there, so I was just kind of putting around, and man, we spent a lot of money just for me to putt around, but that's okay.
Yeah, dad and three boys racing, money in gas tanks, money in haulers, money in pit passes, and they had a big appetite every night at the track. So
We were growing boys. What
so
can we
four,
say?
four teams I was supporting.
Yeah.
Me and my three boys, but I'd do it all over again, guys. I really would.
But
Yeah.
then I hopped into the Roval class out at WIR, and that was kind of like a gut and go class. It was actually a lot of fun. I had bounced the idea off Dad a few times, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever, we'll get to it, whatever." And then he found this deal through the auto auction that we buy all of our cars through.
Rare deal.
And it was a very rare car that we actually gutted and made it work for the Rovals. Yeah, there's Dave for the Rovals. And once we knew that worked, then we built a second one for the Rovals, and that was a lot of fun. There is one actually in between there. I did race at Gravity Park for a little bit in the four-cylinder division. We took a Ford Fusion, a very rare Ford Fusion stick shift car,
Yep.
and I got a couple wins with that. It was a learning experience. That was one where Dad was like, "Hey, man, you want to do it? You got to learn, do it on your own, and see what you can do." And we struggled. We definitely struggled, but Dad allowed me to use the shop the whole time to get it all situated, and I learned a lot in that class, and then took it to the Rovals. Rovals was interesting. I'm not a big fan of road course racing, but with those cars, it was all about hitting the apex of the turn and kind of watching out for the weapons out there because it was really a gut and go class, and you could really wreck stuff in a quick hurry, especially on a car with no cage. So I had a lot of fun. I wish they'd bring them back, but I understand the reason they had to get rid of them. But it was definitely a transition into figure eight. And then when I got to do, or when I knew I was going to start doing figure eight racing, I actually bought a iRacing rig and did a lot of time on the iRacing rig. Raced with Mark a few times. I believe he might have kicked my ass a few times as well.
I don't
But
believe that.
we had a lot of fun. But I can tell you that iRacing has definitely come a long ways. It's taught me a lot, especially how to handle a loose car. I mean, them figure eight cars are never you're never going to fight a tight car in figure eight because you have to set it up neutral. So it was a lot of learning. A lot of my dad's voice in the back of my head saying, "Push a little harder. Don't be so scared all the time." And we definitely did that. So.
Yeah, man, you became a champion in the figure eights, red, white, and blue, and weekly champion out there in figure eights. Spectacular season that you had.
Yeah, that was super special. Our first year out, we got rookie of the year, which at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm not going to go for it. Who cares? It's just a plaque. But then from going from rookie of the year to go into points champion was super. I mean, beneficial. I started the year off by winning the Tundra race, and that whole winter, I actually ripped the car completely apart. Put a new floor pan in it because I mean, you'd let off the gas, you could see the flames by your feet. So it was time. And then it just got some serious maintenance it needed, and we put a new body on it, made it look all snazzy, and then to go out and win 2 races right off the bat. I got a lot of shit for it because they were both shortened races because of accidents that happened on the track, and then there was a little bit of drama in there. You know, there was some moments I wasn't super proud of, but I think it was a little bit of my old man coming out in me. So we moved past those. I've talked to those said drivers a few times, and we're all good now. So it was super cool to win that championship. Just kind of going for the whole chip off the old block there, and Dad's got his name on that trophy a few times, so it was cool to add mine to the storybook.
Did you know on that car that's got 19 front stubs put on it?
Yeah,
I don't know
Oh
if you
my
guys know
gosh.
that.
No.
Yeah, there's 19 front stubs put on that car because of figure eight racing.
yeah.
Well, with you driving, I've seen that wrecked a few times.
Yeah, and it didn't matter if I was leading or not. Might
No,
have
it
been
did not.
one lap to go. It didn't matter. You know how many times I'd get out of the car and people would come down. You only had one more lap to go. You had it won. What fun is that? That's what I'd say. What fun was that?
Yeah. Did
Well,
you pay the
Danny, you
price
got
of admission? Did you get the show you paid for?
Right.
Well, Danny, you got the record for entering the X. You know, one night you got a flat tire and you went off of turn 4 out there and you changed the tire. You know, you have a reputation that you're not going to hold up on going,
Uh,
with your
you know,
momentum. And you come flying back out, and the whole crowd just gasped. And you actually got banged around on that one, didn't you?
yeah, I got hit so hard. I got hit so hard by Kenny Van Wyk, and I thought I could squeeze by the pack, and I was already cranking probably 65, 70 when I mean, I'm like, I'm committed now. I thought I was going to make it. And when he hit me, felt like a shotgun went off in my ear. That's how hard the hit was. And I left where the X was. My car twirled and twirled and spun and ended up on the back guardrail of turn 2 late model.
It's
Yeah.
like half mile. Yep.
And I broke my shoulder blade. And all the hits I ever took in my entire life, I always got out of the car. I was one that, no, I'm getting out. I knew I broke something and I knew I was in a lot of pain, but I was getting out of that car by myself. And I took me a minute or two to get my marbles back and my hearing back. And I got out of the car. And I remember once I got out of the car, I held my right arm right tight to my body. And I walked, I waved to the crowd a little bit. I walked as far as I could. My sister picked me up and took me right to the hospital from like pretty much off the quarter mile track onto the half mile. She picked me up and we went to St. E's, and that's when they told me the lady, we went and took x-rays, and the lady said, "Oh, yeah, you got a broken bone." And she says, and this was 4th of July weekend coming up.
Oh,
I said, "Well, that's great. Do surgery on it tonight. I'll be out for the 4th." She says, "Well, that's the problem, sir. There's only 2 bones in your body you can't do surgery on, and you broke one of them." So I was pretty much laid up for 7 weeks with my arm taped to my body so my shoulder blade could heal. But now every day I get up, it cracks every day, and it's never going to go away. I mean, it honestly, it cracks every morning. So it's something I'm going to have to live with. So far, it hasn't affected me on my work or my racing.
Sorry if
So,
it gets a little loud. There's a race car pulling through.
nope, you're good.
so like I say, that's one night and you remember it. So I guess I put on a pretty good show.
Yeah.
Oh, the crowd gasped when they seen you coming, man, and you were a fireball, and you went flying into that X that night, man, and just like that was crazy, crazy stuff there.
Do you remember what happened the week after that or not?
Run that by me. I probably was there.
Okay, the week after that, the car was back. They said the car was junk. We rebuilt half the cage, put a rear end. No, we didn't put a rear end in it. That was the problem. Axle tube was bent a little bit and it was leaking grease out of it. But we put Craig Van Wettering in, which is my sister's boy. That's who I team up with Figure Eight now. That's how Craig got the race, start racing. We put him in the 49 car and we told him, if you stop for the X, you're going to wear a pink dress. And he went out there and he actually finished second that night. And I'm standing on the hill next to the security guard and another guy. And they thought I was in the car. I'm like, you stupid son of a bucks. I'm sitting up here with my arm tied to my body. But Craig actually finished second that night. And if we would have fixed the car a little better and he didn't have a leaky rear axle seal, he probably might have won it. So people couldn't believe that car was back the following week.
I remember that because that was the first time I heard his name, and I was like, "Well, who is that?" And quickly learned who that was. But you mentioned your sister, Jessie Van Roy, is going into the Circle of Fame tomorrow night as well, which makes the night even bigger for you and your family.
Right.
Your sister is a great racer, has done many things out there. Talk about your sister Jessie for a moment.
Well, Jessie, when she first wanted to start racing, that was another deal where I took my life in my own hands because she wanted to race, not figure eight, she wanted to race super stock. So we put a Monte Carlo together for her. And make a long story short, we went out to practice. Um, she's all suited up with a helmet. I'm sitting inside the car with her holding onto the roll bar, taking my life in my own hands, showing her the diamond how to run the track. You know, this is how you do it. You got to hit these marks, and you got to hit these marks just right. And I did that for her probably. I'm not kidding you. 3 weeks straight, we'd be down there, and I'd be sitting in the car on the right side, not strapped in or nothing, letting her figure this thing out. So to this day, if you ever see Jessie, I think she'll tell you I was taking my life in my own hands, letting a lady race a race car, which she's a damn good race car driver. But that's how Jessie got started.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see her and Dad at the end team up together. You know, when Dad had the stroke in her race car at Kakona in May, he had that stroke and he crashed the car real hard. The doctors told us when we went to the hospital, the doctors told us if his adrenaline wouldn't have been so pumped up, he probably would have died. So that was one thing because of the racing, it saved my dad.
Man, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
That's
mean, he was 80 years old when
Yeah.
he did that. He was 80. So
wow. Your sister not only raced street stocks that you were talking about, but she went out into the late model class as well, out on the half
yes,
mile there, and
yes,
so did her husband Randy. So they were racing against each other and with each other. It was kind of cool there.
yeah. And you know what's funny about that is the announcer would always say, "I wonder who's going to be sleeping on the couch tonight when they tangle," because they raced each other just because they were in the same household and married. Once you got on the track, it didn't matter. Randy didn't give her an inch, and she didn't give Randy an inch. So
Yeah.
it actually that is a story of its own.
Yeah. I remember some close moments, that's for sure. They were around each other quite a bit racing out there.
Yep.
Hey, Jordan, I was going to lead into this after talking about winning the championship. So you win the championship and you go dirt racing. Why and what went into that decision?
Well, I always had this dream of just three-wheeling a dirt car. That's all I ever wanted to do, is just hang that left front tire up over the tractor tire or whatever, be big old Mr. Cowboy. And I got to do it before I even bought the car. The guy, Jared Apel, actually met me at 141, and I got to practice with it, and it was a ball. I had a blast. And then I'm like, all right, how many dollar bills is this gonna take? And talked it over with the wife, and she's like, I'm all in. You're here to live your dreams, and so am I. So let's
What a
start here.
wife.
Yeah. She was pretty cool about it. So I bought the sport mod. Raced it for the fall classic for a little bit there. Um, Learned a lot. There's so many adjustments on that car. I mean, I barely know the half of it, but we were actually just looking it over tonight, and we realized that from the wreck on Friday at Luxembourg, something's bent in the rear end. We found the bar that's bent, and it actually
This banana
made the car better.
faster.
So we're gonna be making a few changes back there to see if we can compensate for that. But it held very well. But getting back to it, the dirt racing thing is something I've always wanted to do. You guys had Caden Kostichka in earlier. He's been helping me out in the pits, and Ethan Beatty's been helping me, and Jacoby helped me quite a bit most recently. So the crew is what you need to go dirt racing. I mean, asphalt racing, you need a good crew too. But when you're talking, going from figure eight where you're racing 13 laps at a time, not a whole lot of wear and tear on the equipment because you're only doing 13 laps. But now to the dirt scene where there's just as much competition, if not a little bit more. And you're racing for a spot in that feature where you're racing against 40 cars trying to get into a top 20 feature. I mean, you really got a 50-50 chance whether you make it or you don't, and a lot of that has to do with the talent aspect. And I do have to say I give a lot of credit to iRacing because it's brought me to be a much better driver than I was. And what it comes down to is the whole dirt thing. If you don't have a stable car and you don't know how to handle the car and keep it stable, you're gonna spin out, and that's exactly what I'm still fighting. You gotta learn how to trail brake. You really have to make sure you don't upset that car, because if you upset it, you're gonna chase it that whole race.
Man, I love iRacing as well. I remember getting into iRacing. I think it was 2012, and then what, Mark? It was a few months after that I convinced you to get on as well.
Yeah, go up by a computer desk, and race. Yeah, I was racing at a desk, but now we got a cockpit and we've improved. And I was just on there just before we came on here, man. I was racing the ARCA car in Atlanta and did well, but once again, I ended up in somebody else's mess. So that's just the way it
I'm
goes. But
I'm sure you
that's
guys have seen my mess of a cockpit as well. I have it's actually Mickey Shelley's old left-hander chassis 887, and he hit the dog leg at WIR with it, and he was scrapping it. So I gave him $200 for the chassis. I cut it in half and I put it in my basement, and it was quite the show. I actually just moved past that. I sold it and I bought just a different little desk setup because I don't think crawling in from the roof was very practical anymore. I mean, it was extremely realistic, but it was just not necessarily something I needed in my basement anymore. The wife wasn't. She's all about my dreams, but she wasn't too crazy about that being in the living room of our new house. So
I had that same thing in our townhome when we lived in Neenah. That thing was in the corner of the living room. We had a crew guy out at WIR. He built some wood cockpits. I'm looking at mine right now, and you buy a seat from Amazon. And actually, I'm not very mechanical, so he came over and kind of put it together. And I'll tell you what, that thing wasn't easy to move either. But um, yeah, she was like, new home, that thing's going downstairs. So I try to
yeah,
put it in this was before kids. I tried to put it in the spare bedroom, and that was a no-go as well.
yeah, yep.
But
But I used to think, oh man, it's just a video game. Like it can't be that realistic. It's just a video game, good for those people. I'll stick to my normal race car. And then I don't even remember where I tried it one time, and I was like, oh man, I kind of need one of these. And then I bought it from Dave Herning for $1,000. I got the computer and everything. I mean, everything I needed to go, and I did that for a little bit, and then decided I needed to go full bore with it, and got the cage and everything. But man, it was a blast. I'm really trying to get Dad on it one of these days. But if you know anything about us, we're crazy busy all the time.
Yeah, I
yeah,
was going to
There ain't enough
ask.
of us to go around. People don't
I was going to
understand that.
ask if Danny got on there. Did you ever think about getting on the simulator?
It's funny because I seen it even like at state fairs and that and all that. You'll see stuff set up like that. I'm working 12, 14 hours a day. I'm trying to retire, believe it or not. And I just can't say no to people. And that's what he's finding out right now. Jordan's got a heart of gold too, just like me. And we help our competitor racers keep their cars on the track. And sometimes our cars suffer because we don't have time to work on them. But you know what? The heart's there. We have fun doing what we do, and I'll always do it. And I'll always help somebody if they need help. I go to the racetrack, I'll see something wrong with somebody's car, I will point it out to them. You know, I would rather want competition when I race than have the stuff handed to me. I'm a competitor. I'm a fierce competitor. I I'm telling you, I'm the guy that's gonna if don't give me an inch because I want a foot, and that's just the way it is with me. So I haven't made many friends this year on the racetrack, but you know what? I never regret my night of racing. I enjoy it, and I wear a smile under that helmet every time.
Hey man, you stepped away from at least WIR for a little while there, and then kind of popped up again last year and this year, and you are traveling. I told you I'd get you back into this. You're traveling. You won at Eagle River just a few weeks ago. You're traveling all over the place, it seems, Danny. So you're getting back in the seat more than maybe fans thought you would.
Yeah, well, it was a hit and miss for this year. Next year, I'm hopefully going to be living up north full time, and I want to run certain tracks. I'll run Eagle River probably weekly on Tuesday nights, and I will run like maybe TNT Speedway. But I want to venture out to other tracks, but I got to find these tracks that the car is acceptable, meaning the rules. And so I'm actually going to do a little research here off season and hopefully find other tracks I can race to. The good thing is I don't have to come to this body shop every morning, open it, deal with people, telephone and everything else. I built a beautiful shop up north by my cottage, and it is, spectacular. I mean, someday you guys want to come for a tour, you'd be impressed. And I put a hoist in there and everything. So what I'm trying to tell you is when I go racing, I have a beautiful shop to work on the race car too.
And it'll have a frame rack too, so you can
Oh,
take
yeah.
some of the load off me.
Yep, I'm going to put a frame rack in there and help the guys up north with pulling cars too. So,
That is amazing.
but no, I wear a smile every time I get in the car. I mean, some nights I don't deal the cards right and I get in some trouble, but you know what? Racing's always still fun. No matter how it ends up at the end of the night, as long as I can put the car in the trailer. And you know what? I'm the type of guy that made my body panels all screw off with one tool. I can pull the body off that car in 7 minutes and, a rubber hammer and some blocks of wood and hammer her back on, put her back on. So that's me. So
What division have you been running when you venture out onto the dirt?
just street stock division.
Unified dirt street stock. Yeah.
Unified dirt street stock.
Sure. I kind of want to end with this, just kind of what, and this is probably going to be a long-winded question and answer from you guys. What is one thing about Stan that some people may not know or that you want people to remember about him most?
Well, the deal with my dad, Stan the man, good family man. Like I say, his shops were always at the house, so we always got to see my dad work on the race cars. But he gave us time also, and he didn't have the budget like most guys did. But again, dad was dad, and he'll always be my dad. He always wore that smile, and everybody remembered my dad the way he was. And I mean it. I mean, for a guy to go race till he was 80 years old and have a stroke in a race car, he was definitely devoted to racing. There ain't a day that don't go by that I don't talk to my dad. I mean it. Every day of my life, I talk to my dad. I talk to Terry Van Roy because he's here on the shop right outside the lunchroom. We got his picture hanging up. So
We talked to Zach too.
yeah,
Our good buddy Zach Woodkey passed away, and
yeah, he
talked to
died
him quite a bit. He died on Christmas.
morning.
Bad accident, but
Yep.
it's I'd say going back to Grandpa Stan, I'd say he was always a stand up guy, and he was one of those guys that didn't take no shit. He'd be one to give it, but he'd take it too. But what it came down to is, I think my favorite story is he got a snoot full, I think, on his way home from 141 one night.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know who was driving, but finally somebody just got pissed off.
Jesse and
yeah.
Randy. Jesse and Randy left them there. They left without him, and pretty quick.
Little while later.
My mom hears a bunch of Harleys coming the driveway, and here's my dad on the back of the Harleys. He got a ride home from some Harley dudes, and they sat and dropped them off. And my mom's like, "What?" And they sat and talked to my mom. Oh, he's such a cool guy, And so Stanley drove home from 141 on the back of a Harley.
Yeah. So he was a stand up guy. We learned a lot from him. I was a little too young to remember him racing, but I've watched enough videos to see the number one thing, and I think I started the video with this. I've never seen somebody get in a car head first, but he would do it every time.
You need to go see my mom's collection. Seriously, guys. If you ever want to, reach out to Jordan. We'll set the deal up. Just plan on being there a few hours, is what I'm trying to tell you. She'll
that. Yep.
she'll definitely feed you, and I'm telling you.
Oh, if you get blessed with some of her fudge, you're in for something there, because her fudge is to die for. But I will tell you, if you go see her, get ready for another interview with Hank Kelmus, because he lives right next door.
Oh,
And another thing too, Stan the man's in the living room, by the way. His urns in the living room at the house, so you can actually pick Stan the man up every time I go to mom and dad's house. I always pick him up and give him shit. I said, you know what? You're not getting any lighter. So I love my dad. I love racing. That's what it's all about. I'm glad my kid's following after me, and now he's got a newborn due in October, and it is a boy. So
keep the name going.
So let's see if we can keep the name going. So
Tradition continues there. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
That's outstanding. So I think we could talk here for hours, right? And I think we will probably have you back on for part 2, part 3, and probably eventually part 50 going on.
Mom on it. We'll put mother on it. Seriously.
Let's do it.
Mother on it. Yep.
Let's do that. Let's go see the shop. Let's go see your mom's collection. Let's do it all. Let's plan on that.
You just come up north for the weekend. I got room for you guys. Trust me, and your wives, whatever. So
perfect. Let's plan on that, guys. I can't thank you guys enough for what you have done for the racing community. Jordan, we didn't even talk about really pulling cars at all, so we'll have to have you on to talk more about that, and I'm interested. I love your videos showing that. I want to get more on the technical side because I'm not technical, so I do want to talk about that. Like I said, we could talk for hours, but I just appreciate you guys. I cannot wait to see you tomorrow night for the big night to remember Stan and Terry and see Jesse go into the Circle of Fame. Just looking forward to tomorrow night. Thank you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Good. Have a great night. You. Be safe.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow night.
Yep. See you.
Mark, man, that was a lot of fun having Dan and Jordan on and remembering Stan the Man, Terry Van Roy, and other people. What a blast that was to have them on, learn more about Stan, learn more about them. The Gracyalny name's so legendary in the sport. Man, it's just it was cool to have them on and just talk. That was a lot of fun.
There's always going to be a Gracyalny, and there's always a Van Roy. It's always been that way, growing up. And a Reichenberger, there's always been one of them around too. So iconic names, man, and wow, they're great personalities, man. I giggled halfway through that whole thing, man. That was good stuff.
This one would be near the top of the ones where I was laughing too. They are quite the two there, huh?
Yeah, so we're gonna probably yes, we're gonna have to make a connection with them and do a part two. And boy, that scrapbook that's got me going, man. I'll tell you what, I'd love to see some of that stuff because that's when I was a little kid remembering that stuff. So yeah, so we're gonna have to connect our wires with them again.
And love learning about that and seeing that stuff too. Though especially the older I get, I really love seeing that stuff.
Those were the days, man. And there was stuff that was before my time, that I see and I pay attention to. But yeah, back in the heyday, I grew up in a heck of a time of racing, man. It was an awesome time. There's different times of racing of either dirt or asphalt. There was eras that were out there. So yeah, I'm sure gonna bring back some memories as a kid though, man.
Oh, no doubt for sure. I can't wait to do that either. Man, looking forward to that. Let's transition and talk about some short track things here. We're going to kind of gloss over the NASCAR and IndyCar and Formula One stuff. I think we'll go over the news, of course, but we'll try to keep this one as short as we can here. Last week at Wisconsin International Raceway with the Fox River Racing Club, I have to mention this too. So we talked about Jesse Van Roy going into the Circle of Fame tomorrow night. Last week, Mike Reichenberger went on in such a well-deserved honor there for Mike.
Oh, I like Mike, and I missed that, man. I was up at Cedar Lake, so I was paying attention from afar, but that is a well-deserved honor for Mike, and heck of a guy, man. Love running into him and talking to him. So, yeah, awesome deal.
Yeah, I ran into him on Tuesday here with the Gander Auto Group 250 and Dixieland Delight with Brandon running the truck race there, and said well-deserved honor, and it is. Speaking of last week, though, for the Fox River Race Club, I know you missed the action there, Mark. In the Wisconsin Sport Trucks, Brady Vanderloop took the win, and they've struggled as a group over the year with cautions and being a little rough. No caution throughout the Wisconsin Sport Truck feature this past week, so that was awesome.
Good, and they all kept all their wheels on the ground. So we've seen a few of them be moving around like that. So that sounds good, man.
Although I do have to say, Jeremy Lane won the B feature there. He broke a spindle with 3 to go. I put a post out on our page, broke a spindle with 3 to go. And if you look at that left front tire, just what Jordan was saying, it turned to the left. He's lucky that tire lasted there. That was quite the deal. And congratulations to Jeremy for winning the B feature.
So he was towed out, huh? Or towed in? Yeah. So
out a big time.
Towed out. So, well, if you're going to the left, that kind of helps you out. So
it was just dragging, though. You could tell it was starting to cord, it looked like.
yeah.
If you haven't seen that post, go look out there. But
Okay.
anyway, the Sizzlin' Fours race was interesting as well in a different fashion. Billy Schomer took home the win there. Corey Lorgan started on fire, and it was a big one. I also have pictures of that out in that same post. The pictures didn't do the fire justice or the damage justice. Just incredibly hot over in that car, and the flames were blind. Someone said fire on the 33, and I looked over and I was like, fire, that thing's burning to the ground. So hopefully it's not as bad as it looked, and Corey can get back out there. I know he has a different vehicle, I believe, so maybe he'll get back on there. But that was happening at the same time that Andy Weezy flipped over on his roof and went up into the half mile. So I was kind of turned and looked over to that, and then all of a sudden someone said 33 was on fire, and also I look at that and I'm like, holy smokes, like safety scrambling, has to scramble in 2 different directions, and my oh my, just thankful that everyone was okay.
Yeah. So acted on the quarter mile with the 4 cylinders, but yeah, Corey put a post out this afternoon saying the damage was too much for that car to make it this week. At least that car, but don't know if he'll fall back into another vehicle. But yeah, it sounded like that was a pretty hot fire, man. It was burning pretty good.
It was. The Superstock then, Dylan Steinbach got his very first win in the Red 62 there. So that was cool to see a first-time winner.
Don't we love those, man? We always love a first-time winner, man. Always exciting.
Yeah. Core Mile late models were out there. They'll be out there tomorrow night as well. Brazen Bennett won the first feature, and Tim Ballman took the second there. Brazen Bennett was in the 19 for Ty Feature, so that's the car he won the first feature in. And then Tim Ballman took that feature. He had a really good battle with Caden Kostichka there. It was like the veteran, the champion versus the youngster. It was a really cool battle for me to watch there in the X.
Yeah, 2 features, man. Double the fun, double the pleasure right there. So love that series. No surprises with those 2 winners there, man.
Yep. Alex Stumpf, also no surprise that he won the late model feature, although TJ Sporowski was quick again. It wasn't an easy win, but Alex Stumpf did take home another checker flag there.
Another one, yep. So, but TJ has found some speed lately, man. So there's going to be some good battles here to end the season here coming up.
Yeah. Jordan Thiel won the super late model race there. Another great race for the super late models.
Yes, sir. Good thing for him too, man. And we talked to him last night, and he wanted my video, and found out that I wasn't there, and he was upset. So said, well, the best way to do that is go back out there and win again, man. So we'll pick that back up for you.
Josh Anthony wins on his birthday in the figure 8 and gets the monkey off his back. He's had nothing but problems up till last week, and he won on his birthday, so that was pretty special for him.
And that's the best sounding race car out there in that series, man. It's just it's got a unique sound to it. It sounds really tough.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, in the Hooters throwback scheme on that 10 figure 8 car.
It is, and it looks sharp, and it goes.
It goes now. Yep. So we got another week coming out tomorrow night. You've heard us talk about it many times on the show. It's sponsored by Bergstrom GM of Neenah tomorrow night. So coming out, racing starts at 6:30. Got the Stan the Man Memorial for the Super Stocks there. Terry Van Roy Memorial for the figure 8 class. Jesse Van Roy is going to the Circle of Fame. Just going to be an incredible night. I know we're possibly going to be fighting the weather there, but hey, we'll be all right.
Well, Lauren says we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. So once again, you know how it works. If it looks good at 3:00, I'll head out there and I can give you live reports out there. So if that's the case, I'll be out there and paying attention to the weather and talk racing, whoever comes out early.
Yep. All right, some more short track racing that took place over the last week or two. Justin Mondyke won at Golden Sands Speedway. August 15th is their next and last super late model race up at Golden Sands there. So one of part of their weekly show left up there.
Yeah, that's telling you the season's winding down, but they still got the Tundra Series going to come through on Labor Day, so that place isn't completely done. But no surprise, Mondyke has been really doing a good job up there at the Golden Sands there.
Yep, he's had a great season up there, and in general, really. Cole Butcher won the Redbud 400 there. Derek Kraus was on the pole there, and we kind of mentioned it in the interview last night after the Gantry Auto Group 250 that Derek Kraus has found some qualifying speed this year, which is nice to see.
Yeah, he breaks the track record, but I hear it was just unbelievably hot there. I heard a whole bunch of stories of what went on down at Anderson. I was down when we were down there 2 years ago, and I went down to the autograph session down there, and it's kind of got a bowl. It's the same as Slinger. I would say that Anderson and Slinger are sister racetracks. You see a lot of resemblance between them, and you get down inside there, man, and there's no wind. No breeze down there. It was so hot. They said it was even worse this time. And I understand Derek Kraus had to tap out, man. He was so hot that he couldn't continue on. It gets hot down there in Indiana in the middle of July, man. So unfortunate there.
Yeah. But congratulations to Cole Butcher and Wilson Motorsports there for taking another Redbud 400.
Yeah.
Speaking of a guy who wins again, Casey Johnson won the Howie Leto Memorial at Madison there, his third Howie Leto down there. Mondyke and Morrissey were the top 3, and James Swan finally got the monkey off his back as well, winning the Midwest Truck Series race down there.
Yep, I was down there for that show right down there, and good crowd, beautiful weather. A little on the warm side until the sun went down naturally, but Madison put on a really good show that week. Yeah, Casey Johnson once again, man, just you know. He shows his patience, man. He gets there, he gets himself in a position, and then when he's ready to pounce there, 3/4 of the way through the race, and he jumps on it and he just dives away. And he has a classic form, man. Yeah,
Yes, he
for
does.
sure.
Yep. Dennis Prunty won the Wagner Memorial down at Slinger. So that was cool to see Dennis back in Victory Lane down there as well.
There's another one I was at. He started on the front row, man, and he took off like a jackrabbit, led every lap, and did a good job down there. That was a fun show down there too, man. A lot of good cars down there, So that was for um tell me the engine builder.
Carl Wagner.
Carl Wagner. Wow. Mine's going, man. Long weekend. I should know that. So sorry about it. I couldn't get that figured out. The first thing that goes into mind. But good event down there. That was another hot one. We got to the parking lot. We tried to find shade, so we went over and hung out in the shade, and there was a breeze blowing there, and it wasn't so bad. So, but otherwise, yeah, awesome event down there at Slinger.
Yeah. I was hoping to go to both of those. Didn't make it happen, but looked like great shows. And, the owners, the drivers, the teams, everyone involved with those tracks and shows deserves the best for sure. Let's talk about last night then. How about this? Nick Van sweeps the Midwest Trucks Dixieland Delight there. The only thing he didn't win is the last hauler or last picked up truck award there. James Swan took that home, but Nick Van had an incredible night out at Wisconsin International Raceway.
That was a fun one, man. So not only but shattered, the track record. So he knew he was fast, and and then also comes up on Maxwell Schultz, teammate. He owns a truck, and was going to wonder how that was going to happen there. Maxwell had a little engine issue there, but yeah, popular win, man. Nick's been going for a while, man, without a victory, and he pulled that off. And good interview last night. Good fun times down there, man.
Absolutely a well-deserved win for him. Series seems to fit him well, so he kind of did say that the plan might be to run the full series next year. We'll see what happens for sure. It's early here. We're still worrying about 2025. But speaking of James Swan, who did win the last hauler award there, he has a really cool thing going on involving QR codes that we found out about last night. There's I think it's Bump Box is what it's called. Those big boom boxes. Mac Tools, I think, is what's on that one. He has QR codes for his sponsors, and his sponsors have online where you can visit. And the fan that scans the most QR codes will win this Bump Box, boom box type thing. Really cool. It's super easy. We both did it last night just to support James Swan and the sponsors that are given to him. It's a unique idea, original idea that I told him right there. It was super cool to hear what he was doing and good exposure for his sponsors as well. So if you get a chance, go check out James Swan's vehicle. Go see him at the track. Visit his sponsors online. Cool idea that he's got going on.
That boom box was awesome, dude. I mean,
You know
we
what?
actually walked across the track and up in the parking lot. You could still pick that up down there. His wife Katie, she was rocking pretty good last night too. She looked like she was a little under the weather, maybe too much sound out of the boom box. But I'll tell you what, that boom box is worth it. I tell you what, that is just jaw dropping, and it was playing some really good music last night, man. I enjoyed that as we were leaving out of the place.
It was, yeah, we could hear it going up to our car very clearly. That bump box was awesome. In fact, I was like, maybe I need one of these for my home, like a lower sports one.
Heck yeah. I'd love to have something like that. I'd probably get a lot of complaints for playing it too loud because that thing packs a punch. So good stuff.
It is, yep. Also, with the Midwest Truck Series, they have that Wabam Summer Shootout that we've talked about here recently. It's down to the final four, so it's down to Grant Griesbach, Clay Kurtz, Brandon Reichenberger, and Eugene Gregorych III. So those are the 4 that advanced in the Wabam Summer Shootout from yesterday.
All heavy hitters there, man. So whoever pulls that one off is going to be well deserved.
Mm-hmm. Then we had the Gandred Auto Group 250, the big one for us up here at Wisconsin International Raceway. Interesting race. I have to say, like, last night I kind of walked down there. Boy, that was interesting just with the strategy and everything going on. It was a great race, but it was just kind of interesting. I don't know. I just felt like it was just interesting. I can't describe the feeling, but I knew it was great at the same time. Just interesting in a way I can't really put into words, which is unusual. But Luke Fenhouse ended up taking that one over Austin Nason and Derek Kraus. They're rounded out the top 3 there. But just so glad that no one got seriously in a serious wreck or anything like that. Sometimes, if you wreck at WIR, it can be pretty hard. It was pretty clean all night. I mean, it was over before 10 o'clock, which is just phenomenal there. So it was a great race and a phenomenal event last night with the Midwest Tour.
It was awesome, yeah. But you're right. There was a feeling like this race was different, just in a way, and it's hard to describe it. But it came down to is if you picked the right strategy, you had the chance. And there was so many different strategies. Like there was like 45 to go there, man. And I just like, who's going to win this race? It was just like there was nobody that was really dominating. And everybody talked about the tire didn't fall off that much. There was not much fall off on this tire. And I think that led to the right racing being tighter too. So, but when Luke Fenhouse got that fresh air and got around Summers, man, also when he got that, he was off to the races, dude, and a well deserved, man. And it was a good deal with Luke Fenhouse. Congrats to him.
Really cool. And I have to say, one of Luke sponsors, also Ty Majeski sponsors, is Soda Sense. They had a really cool tent outside at the entrance there, and it caught our attention, and we went over. You had an adult version of the Soda Sense, which was phenomenal. You let me have a taste of that. I had a Diet Pepsi version. It was so good that I bought one.
Yeah, you snagged one right there, man. That was a cool deal.
It was it was good. Your drink was very good too. What was the word that you used? That could be trouble.
It was like a punch that had a little nip that was put in it, and it was chuggable. It was down the hatch, nice icy cold. And we got to visit with them there and talk to them, and how the advertising, how the business is all going. We kind of picked their brain on there, man. And good stuff, man. They sponsored the racing, with Ty and Luke, and yeah, they've even they've already sponsored a race in NASCAR too on it. So they're becoming quite popular, man. Right out of Seymour over there.
Yeah, I was very happy to support, and I'll give updates on how this is going here. I'm very curious to try it at home. We got some other things to drink up first here that we bought recently, and then I'm gonna really hit that Soda Sense hard and try to figure that thing out. So pretty easy though. It won't take long. I've seen how they did it. It's gonna be very easy. I just have to figure out the ins and outs of it. Like how much should I buy more canisters? Should I fill it up? Should I do what they were doing at the track? So just some little things that I personally have to decide on. But kudos to Soda Sense for sponsoring a bunch in the sport.
So if you ever see them back at the racetrack, you go on over there and investigate that. It's worth the time to have them explain how this whole thing works, and it's worth the stop and finding out about them.
No doubt. Anything short track wise that you want to talk about, buddy?
Oh, I don't think so, man. We've have been on here for 2 weeks, so there's some news, from way back when. I guess pretty much the short track stuff we got pretty much covered, man. We can kind of touch a little bit on NASCAR. There's a whole bunch of news going on over there.
Yeah, I'm just going to recap some things with racing for NASCAR, Formula One, and IndyCar before we move on. There was a Formula One race a week or two ago. Oscar Piastri took that one over Norris and Leclerc. That was at Spa. Lewis Hamilton had quite the drive there. He was the driver of the day. They also had a race over in Hungary, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Lando Norris took that one. I just have to go and check that quick. Yep, Lando won over Oscar Piastri and George Russell there over in Hungary. So that's what's going on in Formula One. IndyCar, I had a hell of a time. I spoke about it well in the beginning, and then when it got time pronouncing Laguna Seca, for some reason, I struggle with that a little bit. So the first time I did good, the middle time I did bad. I'm back to good, hopefully, for these few sentences here. Alex Plo won the race over Christian Lundgaard and Colton Herta. Award was fourth, and Dixon rounded out the top 5 there at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, so unfortunate news that we picked up that they mentioned they're not coming back to Iowa next year. That's unfortunate. So, yeah, that was the one news that was a little bit disappointing. But hey, they're coming to Milwaukee here in a couple of weeks, Ben, and on a Sunday the 24th. So we need all fans to plan a date to go to Milwaukee and support that down at State Fair.
Yes, we do. And of course, I can't get the schedule up there somewhere before Milwaukee. Where are they at here? I'll take
They're
a
at
look at it
Portland.
here.
They're at Portland this week.
Portland. Yep,
Yeah.
Portland. Thank you. So yep, they go to Portland and then Milwaukee, and then they end the season in Nashville. So
Nashville. Yeah.
that's what we got going on. So this weekend's at Portland. Then the 24th is the Milwaukee Mile, which we're going to be going down to, I believe, Mark. And then Nashville the following week, the 31st. And that ends IndyCar already. So that's quite amazing that we're at that point already.
Wow. Yeah. So we're finding out real fast. This season is going to wind out really fast here.
Mm-hmm. Other racing action that happened, we got to talk about Indianapolis a little bit, and then Iowa. Just real quick, down at Lucas Oil, Riggs won stage 1, Riggs won stage 2, and Riggs dominated the race completely. He won the race there as well over Day, Friesen, Heim, Enfinger, Majeski, Chandler Smith, Hemrick, Ankrum, Chastain, and Kruth, although Friesen was disqualified for being too low on front heights.
On his birthday. Yeah. So unfortunate there. He finishes third and they took that away from him on his birthday. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Stuart Friesen here again in a little bit. But the other thing that happened down at Lucas Oil was Corey Heim is officially the regular season champion as well.
That gives him 15 more points, right? Yeah, I think that's how you get 15 for winning the point standings, having the highest points like that. So, yeah, isn't that something? Sounds like that there's going to be a new driver in that 11 truck. I heard some rumblings today of who's going to replace Corey Heim. Apparently, Corey Heim is going to go up the ladder and go race somewhere else. So,
Wouldn't be surprised at that one bit.
Yeah, so there's some rumors going around with Honeycutt maybe going into that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then Corey Heim, he's lined up, so behind the scenes, he deserves to move up, man. I mean,
Yep.
he's wherever he goes, man, he produces. So it'd be we'll see what happens when he gets into a full-time ride as he goes up the ladder.
We talked about it the last 2 years. We weren't going to be surprised, and actually this year was surprising that he went back to the trucks. The year prior was like he could go up. Yep, I would see that, and he came back, which was a little shocking. This year was certainly shocking that he didn't move up. But next year, I fully expect him to be out of the truck series. But
well, man, he's the guy to beat for the championship, though, man. It's just like he's in another stratosphere. It's gonna be a tough one to beat. Yeah, over 1,000
he's led
laps.
like over 1,000 laps this season, and the next one is like 140.
It's crazy. It's just
Something
a
ridiculous.
washout. He's stinking up the show.
Yeah, for sure. Xfinity then over at Indianapolis, Mayer would win stage 1, or yes, Mayer would win stage 1. Allgaier would barely win the stage 2 over Zilich and Almirola, or excuse me, Almirola would have a slow stop there, but Allgaier barely won the stage over Zilich. And then the race, the big thing that happened there was 2 things really. Larson got into Allgaier for the lead, and Allgaier got into the wall. Almirola a little while after that, would get Hill loose, just kind of, packed air, maybe got into him a little bit out of the corner, and Hill retaliates. He right reared Almirola, and Eric would wreck hard where there was no safer barrier located either. Creed would get a piece of that. If it was truly retaliation, which NASCAR deemed it was, that is not acceptable at all, especially going those speeds and when there's no safer barrier in spots there. Um, and him and Johnny Sauter kind of locked horns back at Iowa a few years ago, and I kind of came to realize that Austin is a good story and a good driver after he got to RCR. I sided with Johnny kind of on that incident there, but I kind of overcame that. And when he got to RCR, he's kind of good story, lower funded, was able to find funding, get it into a good ride. But a couple of things have kind of happened over the years where I'm kind of back in a weird spot with Austin Hill. That deal with him and Creed as teammates, and Andy Petrie was involved, although I know Andy Petrie apologized and all that. That was kind of a mark against Austin Hill. And again, with the Johnny incident, I don't know. But Austin Hill was suspended for one race at Iowa for retaliation against Eric, which is a big deal, not only missing a race, but the rule with NASCAR this year is if you were suspended or missed a race, you would lose all your playoff points. So now that really hits hard with the 21 team because they cannot earn any playoff points until they get to the playoffs. So that was a big penalty.
They gave him a waiver so that he still could get in that way. They gave him that this week.
Correct.
Yeah, so, but moral of the story is don't wear white gloves, all right, because
we love it when you wear white gloves.
Oh, but as a driver, we can see the hands through the windshield, and hey man, that decision was made in probably less than a second, and just that 1 second, and retaliatory, and Almirola said that was the hardest hit he ever took. He had that bad one at Kansas. So yeah, and you didn't hear much from Austin Hill, but Childress sure kind of spoke up a little bit, and Austin Hill, what he said on the radio about NASCAR, just kind of put the nail in the coffin that he was going to get suspended. So yeah, that happened. So now we move on.
It'll be interesting story to watch if he's able to progress through the playoffs with losing all of those playoff points and not able to gain any until he gets into the playoffs. So interesting story there, but can't retaliate there if that's what it truly was. You can't do it there.
No, not there.
It was a great race, especially the finish. Taylor Gray got the lead on a restart, but Zilich got back by him a few laps later and would go on to win. It was Junior Motorsports with 100th win there, so that was cool that it happened at Indianapolis for them. It was Zilich, Mayer, Taylor Gray, Larson, Ryan Sieg, Sawalich, Sammy Smith, Dye, Love, and Thompson there.
That Taylor Gray, man, just like how we've yet to see him finish the deal. And, when there's like 10 laps to go and you say to yourself, well, how is this going to go, And by gum, if it just didn't come back around, and he got beat at the end. And just like he's going to have one hell of a popular win when he wins, man, but he just got to learn how to finish it off, man.
Same thing in the trucks. You can see the talents there, but kind of same deal with him in the trucks too, I'd say.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. He's got to learn how to finish these races, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The Cup Series then at Indianapolis, they're moving on. Briscoe would win the first stage. Something big that kind of happened there was McDowell and Chastain kind of got into it, and Chastain wrecked there. So that was the interesting moment in stage one. Stage two would be won by Blaney, but he would run out of fuel and had a pit when they were close. So he lost a bunch of track position there in stage two. Logano had a right rear go down later on. He was looking like he was the best on fuel potentially. He even lost power after his pit stop there, unfortunately. But a caution for rain came out with 5 to go. It turned into red flag, an overtime situation. There was another caution where Bell pushed Zane Unfortunately, Zane wrecked there. Reddick, Logano, and Love would get collected in that. It would go in a second overtime where Bubba Wallace took home the Brickyard 400 over Larson, Hamlin, Priest, Brad, Gilliland, Blaney, Bell, Bowman, and Hocevar.
Yeah, and Ty Gibbs won the $1 million for the bracketology. So, yeah, the owner gets it, not the driver. We found out. So that
Yeah.
went back to the Gibbs camp.
Yep. Xfinity series then. Well, hold on. Let me talk about that for a second. What a huge win for Bubba Wallace. Massive win. Playoffs. It's a crown jewel race. Just a massive win for Bubba, and it was well deserved. Nobody can say anything about this win for Bubba Wallace. It was well deserved, and I'm happy for Bubba and the 23 team.
They've had the speed. They've been there. The 45 has been a little inconsistent too, the teammate there, but yeah, well-deserved win, man. That takes some pressure off, fighting tooth and nail to get into the playoffs. And, this gets the victory and gets into the playoffs. So should be formidable for the playoffs.
Yep. The Xfinity Series then at Iowa, which is one of our favorite places. We were just there for IndyCar, Mark. We've been there for a few NASCAR races in the past with the Truck Series and Xfinity Series. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. We just love that place. Zilich would win stage 1. Chastain would win stage 2. And then some interesting things happened late in the race there. Zilich got into Chastain, and they got into Allgaier, who would end up spinning, and that didn't work out well for Allgaier, unfortunately. Zilich just got loose into the corner into Chastain, so it was 3 Junior Motorsports vehicles there involved in that. Matt Benedetto had all kinds of front end damage. There was fluid on the track, and they didn't throw a caution until a bunch go into the corner and slide up the track. Chastain lost some ground with that. Jones would spin and hit the wall there. Just an unfortunate incident there that might have been avoidable.
That was a head scratcher. Everybody knew there was liquid up there. And they raced through there, but found out that it was up in the upper groove. And when Brandon Jones came through there, he found it and caused a spin and a clutch in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was multiple drivers that went up the track there, unfortunately. But it was really unfortunate for Jones, who spun and got into the wall.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate for Allgaier that that's the second week in a row that he's actually been bumped out of the way. So tough times for him. Junior was talking about it on a podcast, his podcast, saying, that some of his teammates should, try to help him out instead of taking him out, So he said all the things that Allgaier has done for the team is actually these younger guys are reaping the benefits from it. So interesting comment from Dale Jr. today on his download.
But he's right. That is correct. I mean, you're there the race, so you're not really given an inch or more, but try to protect if you can. But hey, you know, at the same time, that's racing. Like Zilich just made a mistake. Something happened. It is what it is.
Yeah. It ain't Allgaier's fault that he was up on the outside. If he's 5 feet in front of that, well, then he's not involved. So wrong place, wrong time. That's where the luck factor comes in.
I guess I would have a bigger problem if I was Junior or Junior Motorsports. I would have a bigger problem with Larson at Indianapolis that got into him. But anyway, racing, right?
Racing, stupid, right?
Most stupid fun you'll ever have.
Yeah, that's right.
Garrett Smithley would spin on the white flag lap there in Iowa, so Sam Mayer would win it under caution. Love, Chastain, Zilich, Harrison Burton, Hocevar, Creed, Ryan Sieg, Quapple, and Eckes were the rest of the top 10 there.
Yeah, Burton got a top 4, and he's fighting tooth and nail to try to get in here with his cousin. So, but Sam Mayer, he won last year, and he popped another one this year. So he's got 2 in a row there at Iowa.
Yep, he's got to love Iowa, I tell you what. Cup Series then over in Iowa as well. Brad would win the first stage. Second stage would be won by Brad as well under caution. Hocevar was on the top of fourth wide. They made contact and he spun, so it was under caution that Brad would win. And then they showed a save by Larson at the end of the stage, which was incredible.
Yeah, Larson sure was chippy on the radio, though, man. You never hear a side of him when he was really spouting off. When he got done, he needed to go to church because he was pretty filthy. So, but hey, one thing that's really becoming a common thing is seeing Briscoe win a pole again. Just that's 6 of them, man. And I tell you what, that's huge, man. That you get pit selection and you got the track position to start up. Tell you what, that 19 has really found some speed, man. So we're going to see if this Briscoe can follow through, man, and see what kind of finishes he can get in the playoffs coming up.
You were surprised that I picked them at Iowa, but one of the reasons is they're showing a ton of speed.
No doubt. Yeah, he's been fine. What is it? Yeah, 6 poles this year, man. Also, every week they come up, oh, Briscoe's on the pole again. Okay. So,
and I think he has an Xfinity win there in Iowa as well, maybe 2 or a first and a second out there. But anyway, yeah, definitely a lot of speed in that 19 there. Lots of incidents in that last part of the race there. But I tell you what, William Byron saves enough fuel and wins it over Briscoe, Keselowski, Blaney, Priest, Wallace, Bowman, Hosfar, Logano, and Austin Dillon. You kind of look at that top 10, Byron also, we saw him win his first Xfinity Series race there in Iowa, so he has a history. I think he's the first driver, actually, now that I think about it, to win in all of the top 3 series at Iowa. So he actually, no, he's not the first driver. Someone else has that prestige there as well. Who won it last year? Blaney. I think Blaney also has that too, because we saw him Blaney win his first Truck Series race at Iowa in 2012 there. So Blaney and him both now have won in the top 3 series at Iowa. But Briscoe too, very successful there. Blaney with the 4th. Bubba Wallace came from 2 laps down to finish 6th. That's very impressive there. Priest is 5th. Again, Bowman, Hocevar, Austin Dillon with the 10th. There's some good names up there in the top 10.
There was almost so much strategy that was going on with that too. Chase Elliott and Barry, they stayed out, and it was getting to the point like they backed themselves into a corner is what they did, and but they still had to come in and pit, and there was just no way that they were going to recover in such a short time. So, they were saying. They were showing the gauge of the 24 and how he was using his gas, and he was only using like half throttle. And he said it burped when it went across the line, so he saved just enough fuel to get over. So, yeah, he's had a long drought, man. He hasn't won a race since Daytona, the Daytona 500, and came out of the box hot, and all of a sudden he's been just floundering through the summer. But this is the time to start, getting everything all work together here and get going, and get momentum to get into the playoffs.
Well, they tried to do the fuel mileage race at Michigan. Were looking good to win that, but they ran out of fuel with a lap to go. So they learned something there to do it at Iowa here. So they could have another win or two in their back pocket, but finally got that second win of the season there. They're going into Watkins Glen this weekend. Before we talk about news and TV schedule, why don't we go into our picks here, Mark, quickly for Watkins Glen. We got all 3 series there. So in the Truck Series, the last time they were at Watkins Glen was 2021, where Austin Hill won the race. Austin is not in the race this year. I get to go first, unfortunately, and I'm going to take a driver that is filling in this week. He's going to be in the 45 since Caden Honeycutt was released from that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Connor Zilich is in the race, so I got to pick him.
Why not? Yeah, that's the smart pick right there. Do you know what? There's a whole bunch of drivers that are actually invading the Truck Series. I mean, there's Christopher Bell is in there, and but I'm going to take Ross Chastain for the 3rd time with that 44 car. Buscher's going to be the first time he's ever been in a truck. He's running the 66, for Thor. So a lot of heavy hitters this time around. So, but yep, I'm going to take Chastain for the third time in the Truck Series.
Truck Series is going to be interesting to watch with the Cup guys coming on down to race it for sure. For Xfinity, the defending winner is Connor Zilic. You get to go first.
Well, since you took Zilic on Friday, I'll take him on Saturday, and that'll be my third time for him. So he's in his typical 88 car, and I expect good stuff coming out of Watkins Glen.
Well, I'm going to come back at you with a guy who Zilic has a lot of fun with and battles with over the last few weeks in the Xfinity Series at these road courses. I'm going to take SVG, who's back in the Junior Motorsports number 9.
Yeah, you can get everything righted up there. So, yeah, good pick, man. Why not? That's the pick that I would have if that was my choice, too.
Chris Buescher is the defending winner in the Cup Series. You get to go first for this one.
Well, since you got SVG on Saturday, well, then I'll take him on Sunday for the third pick. So I'm taking SVG on Sunday.
I see what you're doing here. You're taking the driver I have the day before and taking him the next day. I see what you're doing here. I'm going to take, I'm going to opposite of our Saturday picks here. I'm going to go with Connor Zilic, who's in the
Why
87
not?
Red Bull car.
Why not? But Buescher sure showed a lot last year, man. He sure needs a victory to get in. Keselowski was so close at Iowa, man, and was pulling for him. He earned it. He was there. Just didn't get there at the end, man.
Yeah. Yep. Well, let's talk about news quick and then get into the TV schedules here. Some interesting news coming out of IndyCar. Fox has acquired 1/3 of Penske Entertainment. This deal is designed to grow the sport by innovative and industry-leading racing and entertainment events, hyper-engaged digital strategy and immersive content focus, and enhanced promotion and star-building opportunities for series drivers here. So this is kind of the first time we've seen a network become an owner in a series to try to enhance it. And it's Fox with Penske Entertainment. So that was some interesting news that came out over the last 2 weeks.
Yep, we're sitting all of a sudden, like the NFL today got 10% through ESPN. So all of a sudden, there's a trend where networks are starting to get involved here into the sports and getting some percentages out of it. So this is the trend that's going here. But yeah, that was big news that IndyCar's got a piece of that.
Mm-hmm. In the ARCA Menard Series, Venturi Motorsports signed Toyota development driver Jade Evadijian to a multi-race ARCA Menard Series agreement. She'll be racing at DuQuoin and the Bullring in Las Vegas.
A dirt track right away. There you go, man. Make it tough right away.
Yeah. There was a really bad night for club racing that came up here recently. They were coming home along I-80 in Illinois, and they were in a wreck there. Thankfully, everyone involved is okay, but unfortunately, it destroyed kind of their equipment in the 03. So I know they've been working hard at it, but a tough night there for club racing. Just thankful that everyone is okay after that.
Man, I tell you what, that'd be a major mess, to clean up and everything like that. So, unfortunately, yeah, you're trying to get from one point to another and ends up destroying everything you got. So, yeah, that's unfortunate there.
Yeah. There was a bunch of Truck Series news here, kind of related to the same driver and situation. Nissan Motorsports announced that it has released Caden Honeycutt because he signed with a different team or manufacturer for 2026. I've been hearing the same thing as you, Mark, that it looks like it'll be Tricon and Toyota going forward, which makes a lot of sense here with the second coming of the news. You just heard us announce that Connor Zilic will be in at the Glen, but Bailey Curry will be in it the rest of the season. Caden Honeycutt confirmed that he will drive the Young's Motorsports number 02 truck at Watkins Glen, and then we'll switch over to the Helmar Friesen truck, the 52, for the remainder of the season, starting at Richmond there. I had heard that Honeycutt was going to have to stick with his Chevy deal the rest of the year, but also this Helmar Friesen deal came out, and obviously Friesen is a Toyota, so that makes sense to link the lines to Tricon for next year.
So yeah, that's really really strange, man. Must have been, I don't know. I don't understand it. Honeycutt, what, seventh in points, and all of a sudden, signs with somebody, and I don't know what the relationship wasn't good. You hear where somebody signs on, but they take it to the finish line, and but boy, that just like as soon as that was announced, you're gone, and you know, if he's going to Tricon, that's a pretty established team there. Can't blame him for trying to upgrade his. But I don't know how that relationship was there at Nice right there.
Well, they were looking good for the playoffs. They're in the owners playoffs as well. So it's just a very interesting thing. Even if he was moving on for the next year, that Nice would just say, "Yep, we're done with this deal." But that's the route that they have chosen to go.
You don't see that very often when somebody signs, and they'll hang on to the end of the year. You don't get to go to the meetings and stuff like that. But this one here, like you're gone, and you don't hear that very often. So that was a strange case there.
Well, in Nice Motorsports, I apologize. I forget who said this on NASCAR radio or made a quote there, but he said that they wish the relationship was good. They wish him well, but for some reason they decided to sever that relationship now instead of waiting until the end of the year. But that's their choice. So
Yep, that's their choice.
another change that happened is in the Xfinity Series. Josh Williams and Colleague parted ways there. He was not at Iowa in the 11 there. Carson Hostfire actually filled in for him. So that's a ride. I think you posted about it, Mark, that it wasn't shocking news, but that was when that was announced. You and I both had high hopes for that team and Josh Williams as a driver, and it just didn't pan out.
Yeah, Hemrick had that thing just a cooking, and it was doing well. And thought Williams could fall right in there. And there's just been no results on that team, man. And so they shook that up big time, and we'll see where that goes. But that is a good relevant 11 truck there. So we'll see how they can turn that around.
Yeah. Yep. The Xfinity car there. You announced it earlier, and then NASCAR granted Austin Hill a waiver, so he'll be in the playoffs. And then coming out today, Will Brown is going to drive for Colleague at Portland.
Okay. Will Brown, yeah, he's a road course
Supercars.
supercar. Yep.
Cup Series then, Denny Hamlin has signed a multi-year contract extension through the year 2027. He would be 46 at that time. So is this his last contract extension? Maybe.
Yeah, he's still winning and still a car owner. Doesn't have the fallback from having the franchise tag there. But anyway, that's still mucky muck, and we'll. I hate talking about all the lawyers and the courts and all that. So that's still a mess, and we'll see where that ends up. That's going to be off season news, is what that's going to be big after the season's over.
Yeah, well, we talked about it. They're an open team right now.
Yep.
So that's it for now. But this whole news thing is gonna end on a lawyer thing, which we love.
Yeah, we
Not,
love that stuff. Yeah.
yeah. NASCAR sounds like they're not going to return to Mexico City next year. Chicagoland Speedway is expected to take its spot on the 2026 Cup Series schedule. So I had some people talk to me about that over the last week or two. So it's actually the Mexico City race. That sounds like it's going to Chicagoland. The Chicago Street race is the one that's going out to Coronado on that naval base out in San Diego. So it's not the Chicago Street race going to Chicagoland. It sounds weird, and I know it doesn't matter, but that's the way it's being presented.
Yeah, so it sounds interesting that they're gonna be racing on an island out there, and there's only one bridge to get there. So it's gonna be interesting for fans how to get in and out of there, on a naval base of all things, and it's on Father's Day. So, are we gonna stick to Chicago race on 4th of July? Who's gonna get the big 4th of July race? The schedule, here it is, well into August, man. You figure that schedule is going to be coming out very shortly.
I told you my idea 2 weeks ago on the podcast, that Road America, July 4th. I'm still holding on to hope for that. Once again, you heard it here first if it happens.
It's right there. So, yeah.
And
Nothing
if
like
it doesn't happen,
biggest,
don't blame us.
having the biggest crowd, you know, of the whole season, you know, more than Daytona, and the fans will support it. So,
Yep.
all right, man, wishful thinking there.
Yep. And the last bit of news I have, which again, spoiler alert, is going to be a legal thing, I should say. North Carolina judge has granted Legacy Motor Club's request for a 10-day temporary restraining order preventing Rick Ware Racing from closing on a deal to sell the team to TJ Pecure. Again, I'm probably butchering that name. Rick Ware Racing says it's a $150 million deal for TJ to take over. Legacy did have to post a $5 million bond for this whole thing to take place. The injunction hearing date is still to be determined, to my knowledge. So that's where that lands with Legacy, Rick Ware Racing, and then TJ taking over. So that's a whole mess as well.
Yep, that's a mess, and they'll clear that up too. That's going to probably be another story on the off season coming up. So,
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Talking about this weekend, then, this is what the TV schedule looks like. We'll talk about IndyCar first out at Portland. Times are in Central Time once again. At 3 o'clock on FS1 will be Indy Next practice on Friday. And then 4:30 on FS2 will be IndyCar practice. Saturday, there's been a change to the schedule, so pay attention to this. 11 o'clock on FS1 is IndyCar practice. 1:35 on FS1 is IndyCar qualifying. 3:30 on FS1 is Indy Next practice. 6:30. This is one of the changes that happened. So it'll be 6:30 Central on FS1, IndyCar practice and warm up, and then 7:30 on FS2 is Indy Next qualifying. So those are the two big changes that IndyCar Series and Indy Next made there. So 6:30 IndyCar practice warm up, 7:30 Indy Next qualifying on Saturday. IndyCar practice warm-ups on FS1. FS2 has Indy Next qualifying. Sunday then.
Yep, go ahead.
Sunday then, 12:06 FS1 Indy Next race gets going 35 laps. 2 o'clock on Fox is the pre-race, and 2:22 the Fox the IndyCar Series race will get going 110 laps. Looks like Friday through Sunday is all the same in the 80s with 0% chance.
Yep, typical heat and no rain out there in Oregon.
Yep. The NASCAR series then out in Watkins Glen, again, times in Central Time. Friday, 9 o'clock, ARCA practice qualifying. 10:35 on FS2 is truck practice and qualifying. 1 o'clock on FS2 is the ARCA series race, 41 laps there. 4 o'clock, on FS1, the truck race gets going, stages of 20, 20, and 32. Saturday, 8:30, CW app, Xfinity practice and qualifying. 11:05 on True TV, Cup practice and qualifying. 1:30 on the CW pre-race. 2 o'clock on the CW, the Xfinity race gets going. Stages of 20, 20, and 42. Sunday, 12:30 on USA is the pre-race, and 1 o'clock on USA, the Cup Series race gets going. Stages of 20, 20, and 50. Again, in the 80s all weekend long with 5% chance. So it looks good for both series coming up this weekend.
That's a whole lot of racing, man. So good. And Watkins Glen, we like that place.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
They've been talking about it. In fact, Ty Majeski told us it's kind of like a speedway race, but it's a road course. There's been a ton of talk over the last week on NASCAR radio about that same thing. It's more races more like a speedway than anything. So something to watch this weekend. As far as us, again, tomorrow night, Bergstrom GM of Neenah night. All divisions are running. Hopefully we'll beat the weather. We'll be all right. There's another 5% off, like you had said.
Right.
So 6:30 racing gets going. Come out for another week of Fox River Racing Club racing at Wisconsin International Raceway. We only have 4 weeks left, so come on out, support your local racetrack there in Kaukauna. Friday, you and I are heading out to Tomah for the Big 8 Series race out there. So Tomah Sparta Speedway, looking forward to that. That is the last asphalt track in the Midwest that I need to hit. So I am thoroughly looking forward to that.
Yep, we're going to check another one off the list that we've never been to before, and it looks like it's going to be a little on the warm side. But yeah, I've already Googled it and tried to figure out how to get there and everything like that. So we're going to have an enjoyable night out Friday night out at Toma.
Yes, we are. I'm thoroughly looking forward to that. What asphalt tracks are you still got? Elko, and are we counting Worldwide Technology in there?
In St. Louis, well, yeah, I guess so. That I haven't been to, but yeah, Elko is, and that's on September 20th. I'm planning on doing the Dirt Kings at Plymouth, but you know what? If we get a couple boys and want to go run out to Elko, I could definitely change the plan and go out that way and go check out that place too. So.
Elko is a phenomenal place to get to. I was out there once years back. It's enjoyable. I don't think I'm going to get there this year, but if you or anyone else does, they'll thoroughly enjoy that as well. So Kansas Speedway, I'm not counting in the Midwest. Some people may. If you do, I got to hit that one too. But looking forward to checking that off the list.
I've seen the place because I ran up the hill right next to the casino, and then I saw, it. I'm going, isn't this great? And then all of a sudden I was going to take a picture of it, and I left my phone in the truck, so I had to run all the way back down the hill, and then got my phone, and then ran all the way back up the hill to find out that there was no racing that day. It was 2 weeks off, but I know where it is, and I've actually seen the inside of it live. So yeah, Kansas is on the list, and you know what? It wouldn't be surprising if that might make the fun tour next year. That is being considered to go to Kansas next year.
All right. We'll have to look for that. Saturday, Alive for 5 down at Dells Raceway Park. So there's another show to attend.
The Badgerland 100 that's going on right there. The weather sure does look even more iffy on Saturday, so we're going to be paying attention to the weather on that one if I decide to spring down that way. So weather could be an issue on Saturday, but yeah, the Badgerland 100 is going on. Always, that's always a favorite place down there, man. We love the Dells and what they put out.
Yep. Sunday, when the big things that we're kind of looking at that we've heard about is Angel Park, of course, down there in Sun Prairie, and Slinger also going on. So and you know, dirt tracks and other tracks are going. Golden Sands Speedway Friday, all of that. Get out and support your local short track. There, we're hitting on some of the bigger events that they're hearing about and attending. But get out and support any short track that you can.
Yeah, because before you know it, it's all going to be done. So you better support it while we got it. So there's your clue.
Crazy that we're in August already and looking forward here, but I suppose that's how it works.
That's how it goes, man.
Well, hey man, appreciate you on here, man. Thank you to Tim with the Corp Racing, Ben and Carrie Valley Gasket for all that you do for the racing community. It's awesome. Man, just can't thank you enough. So thank you. Thanks everyone else for your support. And hey, we will talk to you soon.
See you at the track tomorrow, man.
See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.